Hey guys, it's Jimbo's Grapes here, and boy have I got a treat for you. A battle of the Titans. Me and Jock have a really good game here. I play horribly, and without further ado, let's take a look. So as you can see from Jock's first play, he's playing a non-standard deck. It's mostly just an AN control deck with Ironbeards in it, and it ends up being pretty effective. I don't really know what decks he's kind of targeting with this type of deck, because I feel like it's not really super great against a lot of the meta decks right now. Typically any sort of creature deck isn't really that good against poison. The deck likely doesn't do that great against burn. That being said, he could have been playing Cyprian experimentations in the deck and I just never saw them. Or something along those lines. Either way, I assume he's targeting all of the Tempe's aggressive decks that are in the format right now, which his deck very likely would be good against, quite good against actually. So yeah, I'm kind of assuming that's why he made the deck and why he's playing it. Obviously, I've never played this matchup with Poison before. I don't know if he's even played this matchup with Poison before. It could be the first time he's ever played this deck. I'm not really entirely sure. At this point, I think he was 14-1 on the ladder since hitting Titanium, and I was 25-6. And he was ahead of me by about 1,000 points. So if you want to get ahead on the ladder, just don't lose any games, and you get a lot of points for that. This turn, one thing that I learned about this deck that I still struggle with a lot, which is probably the most important point of the poison deck, is to have creatures die to poison on your opponent's turn. These ambush guys, I didn't realize this, but they are really, really, really strong. So you want to try and proc them as much as humanly possible. There is one turn later on that I'll point out where I flounder and don't do that. It's probably the biggest mistake of the game, and it puts me behind for the rest of the game, whereas I would have been ahead for the rest of the game, having done the only thing that you need to do in this deck strategically, which is kill your opponent's creatures with poison on their turn. That's literally the only thing that you need to keep in mind, and I flounder and I forget that for a split second, and it puts me in a really, really bad spot. So, just thinking about plays and how the game is going to go, you know, I'm kind of somewhat taking note of what cards he's playing. The combatants don't frighten me that much. I have armor, although it's like kind of good against poison, it's also not that good because poison basically shreds it down and it almost like removes their armor, so to speak. They do prevent the poison damage every turn, so it doesn't actually kill them, but it does kind of prevent it. This turn I had a very interesting decision. I could let his Necromancer live and get a huge Malice Hermit, which I think in retrospect might have been the better play. And I could have also gotten a proc off of my dragon, but I opted to go for just killing everything and getting a huge Malice Hermit, which also isn't that bad, but I think it would have been better to do combat and then post-combat play Malice Hermit plus Dragon. I do miss out on a bit of procs on the Malice Hermit, and he does get his Necromancer to trigger, but I get an extra creature, and I also get to keep my Dragon alive. So I kind of get 2 extra creatures for the price of 1, although my Malice Hermit's less strong, so, you know, there's upsides and downsides to either play there. I think it would have been slightly better to do the other play. He has played a lot of really good creatures, so getting a free one of his level 1 creatures would have actually been fairly relevant, but I ended up going for this play, not letting his Necromancer proc, and opting for the bigger Malice Hermit. I ended up getting punished a little bit. He does have the Death Current, so again, looking back, probably would have been better to do the other play, but it is what it is. This is the turn that I flounder on so hard, and it's so sad what happens. I don't know why. I have got 7 poison on his guy that's got 7 health. The only thing you need to do in this deck is set that up and just let it die on their turn, and I block it. And I'm immediately punished and reminded why I'm horrible at this game with 2 ambush guys in my hand, which would have been so good here. Like, I probably win the game on the spot almost if I don't make that mistake. So, it's pretty sad. Granted, one of them could have dropped in 5. I prevent 6 damage, but I kill something that's dying anyways. One of them could have dropped in another lane, not doing a lot. Like, they wouldn't have been a huge impact, but they certainly would have been good. And the 2 extra levels by itself is just, like, that's almost enough by itself to be worth it. So, yeah, pretty big mistake there, and punish hard for it. And instead of being ahead now, I am pretty far behind, which I'm not a huge fan of, turns out. I'm a little frustrated with myself. I don't know what the best play would have been here. Maybe Grimgone Devourer would have been good. I did consider it. Like, Grimgone Devourer in lane 5, say, and then Netherscale in 2 might have been good. Also, it doesn't show how bad my mistake was. But I opted just blocked his Toxicode and play another scale, which I think is also fine. Like, I didn't really have a lot of good options there, so I don't know. It was really just what I wanted to level more, and I think leveling the Toxicode's a little bit better in this matchup, although, a lot of creatures are dying, but I still need to snowball my creatures, and Grimgone Devourer is good if you have a huge clustered board, and both of us are kind of trying to clear each other's board every turn, so I don't really know if it would have been that good. There might have been a couple turns where it would have been good, but for the most part, pretty mediocre. And he does have a lot of ways to deal with big creatures as well, so I think the play I made was slightly better. Just seems a little bit more ideal to play to your more consistent and less snowball-y cards. In a matchup like this, I think incremental advantages are a little bit better. So yeah, I'm not upset with my play in retrospect. So here, obviously, I could proc my dragon. That being said, I have really no way of dealing with this guy, and I have an answer to it right now. So I end up going for that, and I think this ended up being a good play, killing his guy. Because like I said, I really had no way of actually dealing with it, so I'm happy with the play that I made. And I don't think it would have been worth it to proc the dragon, play another creature and proc the dragon. I think killing his guy was pretty essential. Oddly enough, he opts to Death Current it here. It was poisoned, it only had 4 health left, but yet he ended up Death Currenting it anyways. I don't know if it's just because he had no other good plays. But yeah, that was interesting to me. He must have had, like, I don't know, like double Death Current, Spirit Cleave, Necromancer, and Relic Scout hand. Like, he had to have something like that, because otherwise I feel like he would have just opted to block there. It was like, there's nothing I could have really done. Ends up working out for him though, because I don't get to trigger off my own dragon, which is a little sad, but I don't get to trigger very many dragons this game. And here I'm thinking, awesome, I'm going to get to kill his guy and get a ambush trigger. But Jock being Jock, he's a very good player. He elects to play around that exact scenario happening and kills my dude. Makes sense, I think even if he didn't know that I had the ambush guy in my hand, or even if he didn't want to play around that, it's probably still better to do that anyways. So here, I decided to go for a board wipe. I dissolve his Aeronaut, because Aeronauts are really scary. I do not like aeronauts, and I'm also getting fairly low on life. I probably need to play a little bit more defensively, and I have no clean way of killing the aeronaut other than the dissolve, so opt for that and block with the dragon, because I can't poison it down. So yeah. Oddly enough, my play earlier of power level 1 not triggering my ambush guys, I don't think it had as big of an impact on this game as it should have. I basically just never ever get an opportunity to proc them again for the rest of the game. And when I do, I don't draw them. So it didn't really actually affect that much. I mean, that's no excuse. It certainly doesn't make me feel better about it, because I probably would have, I would have been leading now instead of being behind if I had done that properly. But it's whatever. I can't dwell on it too much. So here I've got no clean way to kill the Necromancer, other than playing Dissolve, which I don't really like. I've seen 2 of my my ambush guys already, but still, here I decide to play the Toxicode and the Nether Scale, because that is just way too powerful. Basically, if either of them survive, if both of them end up surviving, you're wiping their board. Like, they can't play anything, so I think it's just too powerful to pass that up and go for a Dissolve here. Plus, I'm killing this guy anyways and developing more, so yeah, I think it just makes more sense to do this play. He does get to kill my dragon for free with whatever creature spawns. I don't think there's any creatures that have been played that have less than 4 attack. But, not really too upset about it. So I do get the poison off here, which is awesome. And this turn I could have either played Pit Guard or Devourer. I go for the Pit Guard. I don't know. I'm not really sold on either. I obviously play the Malice Hermit because it kills both of his guys. Yada yada yada. Devourer might have been slightly better because it's immediately getting +2/+2, so it's already a 7/5. And if anything dies, I think it's like slightly better, but again, it's not super important which one I played there. Both of them are mediocre, and I think the Pit Guard might even be slightly better to level up. I always forget what happens on this turn. I think he plays a combatant in 1 and kills my Toxicode. I'm trying to remember now. Oh, he's got Varna. Okay. Alright, this was the turn where he had a really bad hand, I assume, because he played a level 2 and a level 1 card. Interesting and smart play from him there. He plays the Varna, and then overwrites his own guy, because otherwise it would just die to the Toxicode and my Malice Hermit would get slightly bigger. So pretty heads up play from Jocked. I think stuff like that is pretty easy for people to miss. Fortunately for me, it sets up ambush guys that could potentially come killing his Ironbeard next turn. And this turn, I do opt for the Dissolve. I feel like pushing 28 damage, or 24 damage, whatever it is. I can't really see it small on my screen. Looks like it was 24, I think. Whatever. I feel like pushing the damage there is more important than developing a weak-ish creature. Especially since I was kind of hoping I would get a ambush trigger or 2. Didn't end up happening though. gives me a very nice dissolve target. So my play this turn's pretty obvious, dissolve and pit guard. Not really much to say about that. Don't put a lot of pressure on him and he will be able to set up his board here and very likely get a little bit ahead on this turn. Unfortunately, my follow-up is pretty weak. Don't have a lot of good choice here, but as long as he doesn't do anything too scary, like play 2 level 3s, I should be okay to come back. So there's 1 level 3. Little crappy. And he gets a little bit lucky with the anvil swing here. But doesn't matter because he planned on Death Current 2 anyways. So, all in all, not that big of a turn. Here I could have either Nether Scaled and Daisian Siphoned, or I could have Pickguard and Nether Scaled. I opted for the Pickguard and Nether Scale because I really wanted to just kind of get some poison on his guy. And the Daisian Siphon play, although it weakens his guy a slight bit more, it's weaker to removal. And he did have the removal, so my play ended up working out slightly better there. It actually matters quite a bit on this turn because, well, it would have been the same either way, just I take 11 less damage, something like that. Potentially even more if he had more anvils in his hand. So this turn, obviously I'm playing both my level 3s, it's more so just how I want to play them, if I want to block, if I want to, where I want to put my Malice Hermit. Yeah, just, you know, a little bit of sequencing and where to place. I think the best thing to do is to block with Dragon and then play Malice Hermit in 3, which is what I end up doing. It limits his Nexus Aeronaut, where it's able to go, and also, you know, creates a huge creature and kills his huge creature. So, you know, seems pretty good in all regards. So his Nexus Aeronaut is poisoned, so I can dissolve it here and then Toxicode something else. I don't need to poison and play Nether Scale. Obviously it depends on what he plays, but likely gonna just Toxicode something down and play Dissolve on it. Play Dissolve on the Nexus Aeronaut, sorry. So he gets a lucky swing, so to speak, with the Anvil Breaker and gets his guy to land in front of, gets my guy to land in front of his guy, potentially setting up for the trade. So here the Dissolve play is looking even more juicy now because it keeps my Malice Hermit alive. Unfortunately, my Malice Hermit will be really weak and easily picked up after the fact because he managed to land it in front of his guy, but it is what it is. Alternatively, I could have potentially poisoned the Anvil Breaker and dissolved it to push damage. I don't think that was really ever a consideration, and I couldn't really see a world where I do that because it's just so bad. I leave his guy alive when I'm at low health, and yeah, this is not really a play. So, pretty obvious play here. Dissolve his Nexus Aeronaut, Toxicode, poison his dude, kill his dude, and have 2 level 3 creatures in play, one of them that is very large, against nothing. So, my thinking on this next turn was he's going to have to deal with both my level 3s and likely not have anything in play, and I will get to do whatever I want, which is obviously very good for me. Unfortunately, my 5.1 is a very weak hand. I only have 1 creature. I can't even proc the dragon. If anything, I have survives because I can't play another creature. So yeah, it's just kind of it's just a bad hand. He likely won't have anything in play here, so the Dissolve is worthless. The Lysian Shard's pretty worthless. Yeah. Not the most ideal 5.1 hand, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Frontline Combatant proving to be an extremely powerful card. He kills both of my guys and leaves himself with 2 creatures in play, which is not what I was expecting at all. Pretty unfortunate turn of events there for me. So, because my hand is so garbage, I decide to just block, kind of hope for the best, and kill his Relic Scout. I really like killing Relic Scouts. They are scary. Giving stuff plus tons of armor and doing horrible things is just bad. I don't like it. I don't like Relic Scouts. I could have not blocked here, but I feel like I'm at such a low life total, and he's probably gonna have removal anyways, that I don't know. It felt right to block. I could see an argument for not blocking, but it just felt right to block. I really thought that I would need to and get some damage on that thing. If I hadn't blocked, I actually would have been in a worse position because I couldn't kill it with my Malice Hermit. Here the play is just really obvious. Malice Hermit kill both of the creatures that he just played with my Dissolve level 3 and kill his guy. So, like I said, I think the block ended up working out pretty well there because I'm able to kill his guy. Well, I wipe his board and have 2 level 3s in play. What more could you ask for, right? And we're nearing the last couple turns of the game here. So at this point I'm like, please don't have Death Current 3, because Death Current 3 basically puts everything right back in his spot. I can kill anything he plays, so if he goes like Death Current 3 plus level 3 creature, I can Toxicode it and dissolve it. But I'd rather that didn't happen. I'd rather if he just didn't have Death Current 3. That would be the best. And he just plays 2 creature, blocks, and I'm able to take the win with Toxicode and Dissolve. So hope you guys enjoyed the game. It was an awesome game against Jocked. He lost about 800, 900 points from this loss, so yep, it was pretty good. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and see you later.